Welcome back to Same Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial on this channel. In this class, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful flared gown, as you can see right there, with front strips and designs, with mandarin collar, with strips. Okay, so I'll be teaching you the tips and tricks to go about this circle beautiful flared dress, as you can see right there. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay to the end of this tutorial to see how we'll be using our pattern to make beautiful flare like this, as you can see. So please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Start off this tutorial, I've already started drafting my basic gown pattern. So I just want to draft on paper before I transfer on fabric, because this particular dress really has an ease on the bust and on the waist, and we have the extension, the flare extension. So I want to slash and spread the bust that area to be able to have this done perfectly. Okay, and for any hip size, it will also be very easy for you in case you have a larger hip, because I got a request from one of my subscribers to accommodate larger hips when making your flare gown. So this is how we go about it. I've inserted my shoulder divided by 2. So I'm working with shoulder 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches, and I'm working with neckline. The neckline is a total neckline. I'm working with 3.5, okay, and 3.5 depth, width and depth 3.5 for the front. So here is my shoulder line or starting point, and here I have my chest line at 9 inches. I have my waist at 17 inches. I have my hip at 29 inches, and the full length of this gown is 45. So after that is done, I'm going to transfer what I have on the shoulder line, 8 inches. I'll come back to transfer it on the chest line. So once that is done, I'll quickly draw a straight line. I'm trying to create the armhole line. So the armhole line I'm going to create for front and back. So here is the midline. So I'm going to come in for my front from the midline by 0.75, and that I'm going to connect to this point. Then on the chest line, I'm also going to impute my chest measurement. So my chest is 40 inches. Divided by 4 is 10 inches. This is my 10 inches. I'm going to add 1.5 inch of an ease, because this flare dress is actually free. So I'm adding 1.5 inches for my ease. So I'll just go ahead and position my ruler for my armhole, as you can see. So the next thing I want to do now is to create the neckline for the back. So the depth of my neckline for the back is 1 inch, because I'm going to have a turtleneck sewn for this dress. So here I'm going to connect my neckline. Okay, so the width is 3.5, but the armhole for the back is going to be 1/2 inch. From here, 1/2 inch. So I'll just go ahead and connect that 1/2 inch this way, and then I'll place my pattern ruler as usual from that point to that point. Alright, so I'm done with the upper bodies back and front. So the next thing I want to do is to impute my waist measurement. So my waist measurement, I'm using 40 divided by 4 is 10 inches. So this is my waist measurement. I'm adding a whole 2 inches. Like I said, this dress is actually very, very free. It's a free flared dress. So I'm adding the ease at once. Okay, then we are also going to slash it and spread it to have that effect. So now I'm going to transfer what I have on my hip. In fact, I don't even need the hip. I'll come over to the hem I'm working with hip 50 divided by 4 is 12.5. This is it. And I really need the extension. Okay, I'll just add 4 inch of extension since I'm still going to open and slash and spread. So I added 4 inches. So by the time I slash, I'll be getting more than 4 inches. Or this is what I will do. So we'll be able to have enough slash line. So once you have marked your hip measurement divided by 4, then you can add 6 inches, okay, extension. So let me add 6 inches extension. So this 6 inches extension, I'm going to connect it to the 2 inches we had. Can you see? So from that 2 inches ease that we added on the hip line, I'm directing that extension. Can you see it? I'm directing it to that 6 inches or 6.5 inches. So let me just connect it that way. So you can see what we have. You can see that we don't need to measure what we have on the hip, because here on the hip line, my hip is 12.5. Still I have some ease to it, about 3 inches ease, which is perfect. So the next thing I want to do now is to insert we are going to insert a bust dart to be able to slash open and get the actual effect that we want for this dress. So I will just go ahead and come over to the shoulder line. This is my chest line. My bust point is 10.5. So at this 10.5, I'll draw a line, and on this line I'm going to mark my my bust span. So my bust span here is 8 inches divided by 2 will give me 4 inches. So from this point, I'm going to measure 2 inches of my bust dart. Okay, so from here to here, 2 inches, half of it is 1 inch. Of course, you know how we have our bust dart done. So all you need to do is just insert your bust dart. So this particular dress, we are inserting this bust dart not because it's a bustier, but because we are going to close this to have our slash line, okay, the way we actually want it to be slashed. So now I'm going to transfer this 4 inches. I'll transfer it here. I'll transfer it here. I'll transfer it here as well. So I'll just draw a straight line. This is it. I'll just draw a straight line pointing to that bust dart. Okay, this is where we are going to open it, close here to be able to have our full play. Now you know we added 2 inches, so normally when we close this dart, somehow it's going to affect the length of this dress. So I'll just go ahead and add 2 inches. It's okay. So it's better you have an excess than you have a shortage. So I'm just replacing that 2 inches. That's what I just did now. So I'm just replacing that 2 inches. And I'm going to extend this my line to match up with it. So we are done for this particular drafting. And like I said, what we have here is going to be for front and back. So I'm going to cut the back now. We are going to cut out the back this way, so you can see how I'm cutting the back. So if you wish to have the back like a full flay without having a joining or contour line, you can do that. But if you want to have a contour line, this is what that is. If you want to pieces the line of the back, just like we had in the last class we did, this is what you can do. Okay, so we can just go in from here by 0.75, but our advice will leave it that way. So after we are done cutting, we can contour directly on the dress. That is if we want. You can still place this part. Okay, this is serving as our center back and it's serving as our center front. So by the time we cut on this part, we'll be having the back. So if we cut it and add our seam allowance, we can still contour it on the fabric. Then note that we are going to have a button hole or a button loop. So since we are having a button loop, this part this way will be extended, and we are going to have our buttons on this. So let me just cut it so you see, you know, how this is going to. So I'm cutting the back, since I have both back and front. So we are going to cut the back before we proceed to cutting the front. So this is my bust dart area. Alright, so I'm done cutting that part. So the next thing I want to do now is to close up the bust dart. So I'm closing up the bust dart with the bust point, and then I'm going to cut open. Can you see? I'm going to cut so that is why I have this line. So I'll cut open and I'm going to close up. Can you see? So I'll just bring in my adhesive at this point. So please be careful you don't cut it out completely, just as I've done. So I just apply So I've applied my adhesive now. So what we have here, we are going to use it to cut the back fabric first. So once we are done cutting the back fabric, then we'll come over and cut the front. So you can see the opening. You can see that we have enough slash line. So if I have to measure this slash space now, see what we have here. Can you see? A whole 9 inches plus the 4 inches we added. So you can see that we have enough spread. So I'll just pick up this and I'm going to place it on the fabric right now. So this 1 inch I have here, okay, is supposed to serve as my button loop. So I don't actually want to fold it. I'll use it for the back seam line, okay. So when I'm cutting now, I'm not going to add my seam allowance for the center back, unless you want to place this on fold. So if you want to place that back on fold, I'll advise you to do what? If you want to place it on fold, but me, I want to contour it. So if you are placing it on fold, you just simply fold this part before you place. You fold it in this way. Can you see? That is, if you want to place it on fold, just go ahead and do what I'm doing. Fold it in before you cut, okay. But I don't want to fold it in, so I will leave it this way, cut it without adding seam allowance, then contour the back inside on the dress itself. I brought my fabric now, and it's time for us to start placing our pattern. So this is the salvage part of my fabric, and this is the length part. So this, I'm going to place this on bias also, okay. But this bias we are placing, I can only get 1/4 of this pattern, only 1/4. So if I cut out 1/4, I'll place it on the other part of Ankara to form the other parts, okay. So this 1/4 now will serve as a pattern for me. So just watch what I'm doing. So I'm placing on bias. So placing on bias means this salvage part now, I'll bring it this way, okay. I'll just bring it this way. Can you see? Can you see how I bring it? So this time around, I'm leaving it to cross this line, okay, because that is the only way I can get what I want. So I'll keep adjusting it. I'll keep adjusting it. So I just want to have this part, okay, very big, so it will be able to, you know, accommodate my pattern. So I will adjust it to the extent possible. So if you look at this part, you can see it's going out the fabric. What I need is only 1/4, okay, because I can't do this to achieve the boat. So I'll place it like this, and then I'll bring my fabric. So I believe you see what I did here. This is what I have here. So I'll now bring my fabric and place to get 1/4. So I'll bring my pattern. So I just want to place my pattern here because this way, because this is the center back line and it falls on this folded straight edge. So I'll place it here. So as I'm placing, I'm making sure I have my pattern accommodated. Can you see? So I have this part accommodated. So I'll just shift and adjust it. So let me quickly do that. Right, so now I've pinned my pattern. So this is the upper part of it, and you can see it was placed on bias. Can you see? On a triangle. So now, like I said, this part will give us only 1/4. So this is the down part of it. You can see the folded edge. So we are just taking only 1/4. You can see that. Okay, so you have to extend this particular part to cross in a way it will accommodate the whole pattern. So now I'm going to cut what we have here. So I'm cutting, adding my stitching allowance. That's my hemming allowance, okay, to hem the dress. Okay, so I've cut out that part. So the next part I want to go now is to cut out the I'm cutting the neckline for the back. So I just want to be sure my 1/2 inch is 1/2 inch. So I'll just go over and add my 1/2 inch on the shoulder line. Okay, so remember that we did not add any seam allowance on the pattern. So I'm just cutting, adding my seam allowance right now. So on the side you can add 1/2 inch, then I'll sew 1 inch because the allowances I put was actually much. So I'll just add 1/2 inch. Okay, so you can see that. So I'll just keep and I'll blend it up that way. So that is it. So the center line, I'm going to cut it out. This center back, I'll just cut it off. Note that it's only 1 piece you are going to pick. So when you are cutting, please be careful. All right, so this is it. So the front piece of this dress, make sure you note the part that is the front and make a mark. So I will use this to note, okay, so this is actually the front. So I'll place my mark for the back now. So this is actually my front dress. So it means the back of it is this. So I'll just use my chalk mark. Then take out my pattern. So once I take off my pattern, like I said, I have only 1 piece because this one, you can see we are not using this. So I'm using the 1 piece that is complete. And that is what I'll use to place on my Ankara now to cut out the other parts. Can you see? So now later we'll now come and contour the back. That is if you want to contour the back. Of course I want to contour the back. So you can see what we have. We have only 1 piece. So this 1 piece now, I'll bring in my Ankara back. Okay. I'll just bring in my Ankara. This time I'm not placing it on bias, because we've gotten what we needed on bias. So this is right side. So I'll place right side to right side of it. Okay, so I want to place the center front area this way. So I'll pin it now and cut out these other pieces. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Let me quickly do that. All right, so now I'm done cutting two of them now. So this two is going to serve as the two back, and this is the center back. So at this center back, if you look here, you can see I have some markings. So because I want to contour my back, okay. So before you do this, make sure you have your pins holding this down. So what I did was to measure from the shoulder. I measured my waist 17 and added half an inch. That's how I got this line. I measured my hip 29, added half an inch. That's how I got this line. So on the center waistline, I'm going to go in by, remember I've already added 1 inch. So just simply go in by 0.75 to contour your back. Then I'll place my ruler this way. I'll place my ruler from that, pointing it to the neckline. Okay, that's the back contour line. So this gives your dress that beautiful shape at the back. Okay, although it's a flared dress, but it gives it that beautiful shape at the back. So I'll just go ahead and do what, and blend it. So I'll cut off this contour line now. So it will make the back relax, you know, very beautifully well, though it's flayed too. So that is how to go about it. So I'll just go over to the machine and sew at 1 inch. Okay, remember I added 1 inch. I'll sew at 1 inch this way, that way, till I get to the end. So I'm going to set this aside. I'll cut the front now. For the front dress, we are still making use of this same pattern. So but the difference now is that we are going to cut the neckline. Okay, so I'll just cut out the neckline which we have drafted. Then I'll cut out the armhole for the front. Alright, so once that is done, I'll now place my fabric on bias. Done cutting right now. So note that this is the 1 inch which will serve as the button allowance. So I'll take off my pattern. So it's only one piece as usual. So I'll just take off the pattern, the one under. We are not using the one under. So we are done with this pattern right now. We are done with it. So this is the one under. I'm taking it off. So this is the one we are making use of. So I'll place this again, which is the front pattern piece. I'm going to place it on the Ankara and cut. So now I'm done cutting out the fronts, as you can see. So this is what we have on the flared dress. So this is the center front. So this center front, we have 1 inch. Okay, so the 1 inch is going to be for the button allowance. So the next thing I want to do now is to start creating the design. So to create this design, I will be I'm done sewing the trimmings, as you can see. So these are the trimmings right now. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to start sewing the strip. So for the strip right now, we are going to have our fishing line in between the strip. So the part that will carry the fishing line will be the right side. So I'll keep this one aside. So this is my strip. Okay, so this strip here, I have 2 pieces of it. So these 2 pieces of it, I'm using it to sew the right and the left part. So the width of this strip is 3 inches. From here to here is 3 inches. So the length is the length from the neckline to the hem. So this is 3 inches, as you can see, and I have 2 of it, so I'll keep 1 for this other one. Okay, so the part that will have the fishing line will be this part. So I want to mark the back part, so I will not confuse it. So this is the back part, and this strip is going to lay on top of this dress like this. Okay, so it's going to lay on top of this dress, and it's 3 inches. We are going to sew half an inch here, half an inch here. Everything will be at 2 inches of width. So this is the fabric I'm going to use to create this fishing line. So this fabric is 1 inch, and the length is from here to the hem. So whatever you measure, that is what we are going to use. So we'll be going over to the machine now. I'll show you how to go about the sewing of this strip using your fishing line. So this fishing line right now, I'll just go ahead and loosen out this part that is tangling, and I'll show you how to insert it. We are going to insert it right here very carefully. So once I insert it, we'll now use it to sew this strip. Okay, so we'll first of all place it on our machine this way. Okay, so at the end of the day, then this one, note the part that is front and back. So the right side will also lay on the right side. So we'll go ahead and sew. So at the end of the day, we have this way. So let's go and do that. So before we go ahead to sewing that strip, you need to change your presser foot. So this is my presser foot, and this is the zipper foot. So I'm going to change my zipper foot right now. So I'll quickly do that, then we'll proceed. To begin the sewing of this strip, note that we are sewing it on the right side. Okay, this is the right side of this dress. So to achieve this, I'll simply turn it to the wrong side this way. Okay, then once you have turned it to the wrong side, next is to bring in your strip, which you are going to use. Insert the fishing line, okay, inside. So you can get this fishing line in the market. So make sure you centralize the fishing line. So once you have centralized it, then you are going to place it. So you are going to face it. After inserting it, you are going to face it this way. So just raise it up a little bit, okay, this way. Make sure the folded part faces this way. So once the folded part has faced that way, you come in with the border strip, which we cut at 3 inches. Okay, so note the part that is the back. So I'm trying to identify the part that is the back. Make sure you note the back. So this is the back, okay, but we are going to face is the front that we are going to use. Okay, the front piece is what is going to lay right side to the wrong side. Take note, right side to the wrong side. So I'll just place it right there, as you can see. So this is actually very technical, so I will advise you take your time to do this. So we are using our presser foot, so we'll be able to gauge it accurately. So I'll go ahead and sew. So I'll just keep putting it in between, aligning it at the edge, aligning it at the edge. So with your zipper foot, you'll be sewing at the edge at 0.5. So this is what it looks like. Can you see? At the end of the day. So I'll just take my time to sew this down to the hem. Okay, so you need your zipper foot to achieve this perfectly. Can you see? So it's your zipper foot that will help you achieve this perfectly. Can you see that? So at the end of the day, it goes to the front this way. So I'm going to sew this down to the end, then I'll show you what next to do. Alright, so now I'm done sewing, and this is what we have. Can you see that? So when you turn it to the right side of the dress, you will have that you have the strip. Can you see, which we use our fishing line. So now you know this one, the bigger strip is going to be folded in, and we are going to sew at 2 inches. So the width of this strip for the button is at 2 inches, and it is still going to have this design. So I'm going to spread open now. So I'm going to spread open the strip, so we'll be able to sew in this before we top stitch on top of it. So now I'm still working with my zipper foot. So I'll go in with the strip once again, but this time I'm going to place this strip at the edge. You can see me placing it at the edge because everything I have here, let me explain it better. Everything I have here now is 2.5. So by the time I sew at 1/2 inch, I'll have 2 inches remaining. So I'll just go ahead and place my strip, the fishing line in between. This is also called a fishing line. Like I said, you have seen how it is. Once you get to the market, you'll be able to find it. So I just place it right here. So my target is to make sure that the width I have here is 2 inches, because that's what I want my band to be. So I'll just shift it a little till I get that 2 inches. Fine. So I have my 2 inches. So I'm going to sew this now in between with my presser zipper foot, spreading the strip and positioning it. So the gap here and here, normally if you cut very well accurately, you should have 2 inches. So I just lay it at that 2 inches and I'll keep sewing. So I'll just sew it right now to the end. So once I get to the end, I'll also show you what to do next to achieve that perfect result you are seeing right there on the thumbnail. So let me quickly. Alright, so now I'm done sewing it right now to the end. So I'll just cut off what I have as an excess right here. So I'm going to flip it this way once again, and this part I'm going to tuck it in. So before I tuck it in and top stitch very close to it, I'll still use my zipper foot to top stitch. So I'll just quickly hold it down. I'll quickly hold it down with my pin before I top stitch. So I'll just do that now, then I'll show you how to go about the top stitching. Alright, so now I'm done pinning it and I want to start top stitching on top of it. So make sure you have pinned it. As you can see, I've really made sure I pin it to an extent. So I'll now drop my presser foot now. Sorry, my zipper foot. I keep calling it presser foot. So my zipper foot very close. What I'm doing here now is top stitching, but I'm doing that very neatly in a way you'll be unable to see what I'm doing there. So this top stitching I'm doing here, I'm doing it right on the dress, not on the white strip. Okay, so you have to use a matching color to achieve this effect. So make sure you lay this flat. So you can see me laying it flat, making sure it's flat before I top stitch. So I keep top stitching that way till I get to the end. So let me do that to the end and I'll show you what next to do. Alright, so now you can see I'm done top stitching at this edge right now. So you can see what it looks like. So all I'm going to do now is to give it a good press. So by the time I press it down, it goes down. So I'll just go ahead and cut off or trim off what I have as excess right here. And that is that. So I'm going to work on the other part. The other part is not going to have these trimmings, like I said. So I'll just go ahead, bring back this other part, and then I'm going to sew the strip. So this is the strip. So make sure you, at every point in time, you know the back of the strip. This is the back of your strip. So I'll just go ahead, and this is back, this is front. So I'm going to sew front to back. So by the time I turn it and top stitch, I will have what I want. So I'm going to change my zipper foot to presser foot right now. So I'm done holding it down with my pins right now. So but for this part, okay, we are not going to fold the 0.5. We are going to fold in to the end. Okay, please take note, because this is where we are going to have the button sewn. Okay, so this one is folded at 2 inches. This one is folded at 2 inches just for the design of it. Okay, so if you want to, remember we added 1 inch button allowance, so we have to maintain that 1 inch for this. So if you want to overlap this to match up with this, it means you add 2 inches button allowance. Please take note. So for this one, is because of the design, that's why we have it at 2 inches. But for this one that is going to be inside, I'm going to fold it to the end, so I'll be able to have 1 inch. Okay, so I'll be able to have 1 inch. So I'm going to top stitch now, making sure what I have here remains my button allowance of 1 inch. So I'll just go ahead and do what? Top stitch at the edge of it. Let me do that. All right, lovely people, so I'm done with the 1 inch overlap to the end. So this is the part that will bear the buttonhole. This is the part that will have the button. So at the end of the day, we'll have this dress button this way. Can you see, to the end? So it's actually looking beautiful. So for the back piece, I've already joined the back piece at 1 inch, like I earlier said. So I'll just go ahead and give it a good press. So I'll just match up to sew the I'm going to sew in the seam allowance, the shoulder line, by 1/2 inch. Then I'll also sew the sides by 1/2 inch as well, by 1 inch as well. So let me quickly sew that, and we'll jump into the mandarin collar design. All right, so now I'm done closing the sides of this dress. So I've closed the sides, the shoulder line. So the next thing we want to do is to start taking the measurement for the mandarin collar. So on the collar, I'm going to take my measurement from the beginning. As you can see, I'll go around the neckline. So make sure you take the measurement of the collar design very appropriately. So here I have 21 inches. So I'm going to cut my collar at 22 inches, so I'll be able to add my seam allowance. So I'll just come in with this piece of fabric, and I'm going to place it on bias fold. Okay, by now you should know what bias fold looks like. We've been doing it in this class. So I'll just place it on bias fold this way. That's forming a triangle with it. Then I'm going to take the measurement from the tip of this bias. I'm going to take this measurement at 17 inches this way. So remember, I measured 21 inches and I'm adding 1 inch to it, which is 2 inches. So I'll just go ahead and first take the width of my collar. I want my collar to be 2 inches width, so I'm going to add 1 inch for seam allowance up and down. So I'll just go ahead and do this. So what I have on the lower part is going to be the measurement of my neck width, okay, which I just measured now as 22 inches. So 22 inches divide by 2, I'll be having my measurement at 11. So I'll just go ahead. Remember, this part is on fold, and that is where I'm going to place at the center back. So I'll just go ahead and take the measurement of my collar at 11 inches. So I'll just make it 12 inches, okay? The reason for the 12 inches is in case there will be a shortage, then I'll use that 1 inch to make it up. So I'll quickly cut my collar right now. I'll cut this collar right now. Okay, I'll just cut it to this end. So if you wish, you can make your collar straight. If you wish, you can also slant it, but this one I'm going to make it straight. The one I had in the last tutorial on how to cut a flare dress without a half cut, I curved it. So is your design or your choice. So I'm placing this right here back to form my lining. So this is the lining, as you can see. So now I have my collar. So this part I'm going to notch it as my center back, and I'm going to notch this as my center back too. So I'll open up the collars now. So if I open up, this is what I have. So note that the upper part is serving as the upper, and this is where we are going to attach to the collar. So I'll bring in my fishing line now to sew the upper part. So I'll use my fishing line now. I've already cut the strip for it. So I'll do the same thing I did when I was sewing the strip, okay? So I've also put my fishing line in between right now. And this time around, I'm going to allow the fishing line lay in between lining and fabric this way, okay? So I'll lay this one on top with my zipper foot. I'll run it, so at the end of the day we have this showing this way. Let me quickly do that. I'm done sewing my mandarin collar, inserting the strip inside, as you can see. So this edge, I have to sew it down. So I'm going to turn what I have on the edge right now. I'll just turn it. Like I said, the front, I didn't shapen it for this particular collar. I just have it the way it is, as you can see. So I'll just go ahead and give it a good press. Then I'll go ahead and sew on the dress. So after giving it a good press, the normal way we usually sew this is to pin the side that is going to serve as lining, okay? So I would want this part to be the lining. So if this part is going to be the lining, the inner part, it means I'm going to turn it this way. I'll stitch center to center back from end to end. So once I sew from end to end, I'll come in with this one and overlap. Alright, so now you can see I'm done sewing one part of I later hasted it, so please make sure you haste it. I've stitched this other part. So I'm going to fold it at 0.5 at the center back, and I'll secure it with my pin all over. So make sure you secure with your pins before you stitch, so you'll be able to stitch accurately. So I will do that now, and I'm top stitch on top of it. I'm done with the collar. So the collar is going to overlap this way with its button, as you can see, looking beautiful and nice. So now I'm going to work on the sleeves right now, okay? So for the sleeves, I'll just simply use my basic long sleeve and place on top of my sleeve. Then I'm going to expand this part and add my cuff to it. So I've placed my basic sleeve. So this is the full length part. Okay, so this basic sleeve is going to actually have a cuff. Okay, so I didn't actually get to the end of my sleeve, so you can just step up 2 inches before you cut. So I measured my sleeve wrist. I have 9 inches as whole, so I added 9 inches this side and 9 inches this way, because I'm going to make gathers to it before we attach our cuff. So let me gather it now. I've gathered it to 10 inches. That's what the wrist is going to be, because I'll use half an inch to sew, and I gathered it to 11 inches. So when I sew with half an inch, I'll have 10 inches remaining. So my cuff here is also 11 inches, as you can see, from here to here, 11 inches. So I'll just use one cuff to demonstrate how to sew this sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and sew a straight line and turn. Let me sew the cuff this way, and you have sewn the size of the sleeve. I'm going to turn the cuff right now. I'll turn it to the right side. Okay, so matching up seam line to seam line this way. I'll pick up the cuff, insert it inside the sleeve. So I'll secure it with my pin at the seam line, and I'm going to secure with my pin, that is if you want, and I'm going to sew the gathers on top of the cuff. So I'll do that now. I'm done sewing the cuff into the sleeve right now. So the next thing I'll do now is to sew what I have here on the sleeve. I'm going to sew the sleeve right now into the armhole. So for this part, this is the armhole and this is the sleeve. So I'll just go ahead now and turn the sleeve to the right side, insert the sleeve, find the sleeve head, pin it at the sleeve head, and also pin here at the side seam. So I'll quickly pin, and I'm going to sew around now. Alright, so I'm done attaching the sleeves, as you can see, with the cuff. So that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. I'm going to sew my buttons to this dress right now. Okay, alright, so thank you very much for coming to this class. If you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you for coming. See you in the next class. Bye.